Let's talk about factoring the sum and difference of cubes. So remember, cubed means it's to the third power. And so here's like an example of this, x to the third minus 64, and we're being asked to factor that. So it's actually kind of easy once you get the hang of it, because we're really just following a template. We're following a formula. And that formula, in most books, now in your book here, they say memorize these formulas and they use X and Y, all right? Most textbooks use F for first term and S for the second term. So if you have first cubed plus the second term cubed, when you factor it, you're going to get a binomial and a trinomial. Now look, if you have f to the third minus s to the third, you're going to have a binomial and a trinomial. But notice the pattern here, okay? The cube root of the first term, the cube root goes here, the second term goes here, okay? Notice the pattern, it's the same. And then in this trinomial, the first term squared minus the first times the second plus the second squared, okay? In this one, it's the same thing. First squared, first times the second, second squared. So what's the difference? These look almost the same. I'll quick point it out to you. Let me use red. I know it's not Christmas yet, but we'll point this out. If this is plus, then the first one is plus. If this is minus, then the first one's minus. Okay, are you with me? Follow this pattern. Whatever this one is the opposite of this. So this was plus, this one's minus. This was minus, notice how this one's plus. Otherwise, f, s, f squared, f times s, s squared, those are all the same. And notice that even here, these are the same, plus and plus. So the last one is always plus. So I'm trying to help you see how similar these patterns are. And now we're just going to plug into that pattern to solve. So the square root, the cube root of x to the third is x. So I'm going to set up my template. I'm going to do the first, since this is minus, I have to use this template, put a minus here, and then I'm going to do a plus here and a plus here. The first term is x, and what's the cube root of 64? This would be the same as 4 to the third power, so 4. So I can do x, and this second one here is 4. And then I do x squared, because I'm following the pattern. Here I'm going to do 4x, because I do the second and the first multiplied together. And then for the last one, I do 4 times 4, which is 16. Okay? It really isn't that bad. You're just following the pattern. You have to look at what's given to determine whether it's plus or minus, and then you choose based on that, and you just follow this pattern. I recommend you try to memorize it. It really isn't that hard, but if math really is a struggle for you and you feel like this is going to be kind of overwhelming, talk to your teacher or parent, and sometimes we allow a cue card for a formula like that. But yeah, I don't think you'll have too much trouble with this. It goes on to page 20, and let's see, some of these. So none of these it doesn't look like you have a common factor to take out of the whole thing first, okay? So you should be able to do the third root of whatever the first term is. Now sometimes, like look at number 8, we have 8x to the third. So you know the cube root of 8 is 2, and x to the third, so that'd be x. So actually you take that whole thing, the first term is not just one thing, it's actually 2x. And then it says minus 125y squared, y to the third. So of course the third root of y to the third is y, but the 125, we have to take the 5. All right, so that becomes your first term and your second term. And actually, if you follow the examples on page 19, they show a couple there, especially at the bottom of the page. That one is helpful. And if you follow that example and see exactly what they're doing there, they're just plugging into the formula. and then distribute it out. And you're up to a checkup. So I think I'm going to stop right there and let you finish that page, do the checkup, and then we'll come back later and talk about the last section of this piece.